I guess because I got so used to the Tom Crean era of, hey, we're
Mm.
going to get 13 new guys again next year. Um,
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I are joined by Fletcher Proctor to preview Georgia's first NCAA tournament appearance since 2015. And of course, we get Fletcher's Georgia story. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress.
Both of you deserve pinches. No green whatsoever.
Oh, I had green on all day. I changed for this.
I
All
guess
I
that's
had
right.
to go with the Miracle Worker shirt.
Miracle Workers is a solid shirt. Shout out Home Field Apparel. All right.
I'm gonna have to pick that one up.
The first ever NCAA tournament preview episode of My God a Podcast. Uh, had to have a special guest. John and I talked about this. We'd had this set up. Knew this was had agreed to do this. Should a tournament berth happen, no other way to preview the NCAA tournament game for the Dogs than with special guest Fletcher Proctor. Fletcher, we're thrilled to have you on My God a Podcast.
Thanks, man. It is an honor to be here. Dogs are dancing. My God, a podcast called. Got to take that call. Have to do it. Have to do it.
You gotta step up.
So good, so good.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Long time listener, first time.
Too good.
You get the first ever basketball episode. We're extending the basketball minute by a good chunk.
Excellent. This is how dynasties are made right here. This is where they start right here. The spin-off episode. I can't wait.
So good. Yeah, I don't know that we've ever done like a truly basketball centric episode either. So, this will be
Well,
fun.
when Tom Crean was there was no need for it. So
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But hey, three guys here that were in school for the Herrick years. So, I feel like we have like a unique perspective of you hear all this like, "Oh, well Georgia's never been good, Georgia's never been good." And I'll always be like, "Man, you don't understand. Like when we were in college, like we were good." It's like I know it's hard to believe, but
yeah,
We had football players dunking on people.
it's
we
true.
did. We did. And what's so weird is you go on Twitter and they're like, "Man, I've never seen the stag like this." And it's like, go back to 2001, go back to 2002. Like I literally saw somebody steal a headband off of Ron Slay at Tennessee. I was there when somebody punched Matt Walsh in the face when we rushed the court against Florida. It's like, don't tell me that the stag has never been like this. It has been like that. They used to open up the doors 2 hours before game time, and we would get there an hour and a half to line up outside. So literally for the 7 o'clock game, we're there at 3:30. Don't tell me that stuff has never happened before. I was there.
Dude, I can't believe the things you just rattled off because I like vividly remember both of those. The guy, did you know the guy that put the Ron Slay headband on? Because I remember that.
I only knew him because I sat to the, if you're looking at the court, front row to the left,
Hmm.
on the first row behind the basket, and he sat on the front row to the right of the basket. So I
Okay.
didn't know him, but it's one of those like, "What's up, man? How you doing?"
Yeah, I like I remember that guy. I remember that guy. He was a Herrick's Hound.
Yes.
Shout out Herrick's Hounds. Shout out John Bateman for founding that for us back in the day. Yeah, I totally remember when that guy did that. Sorry, I just can't believe you brought that up. That's amazing.
And then I was also there the day that Udonis Haslem flung the ball into the crowd. I don't know if he broke a kid's nose or what, but he had to apologize. These days, Haslam would have been, suspended or thrown in jail or something. But back then, it was just like he said, "I'm very sorry," and that was it.
That's
Yeah.
assault, brother.
Yeah, it was.
Oh man. Yeah, those were I don't know. I guess like for me, those were I guess you would those were kind of the glory days, I guess, although some of it was redacted, but whatever. I still say it happened.
I
So
was there.
yeah, it happened. We were there. It counts.
I
Um,
remember storming the court for Tennessee. I remember that.
yeah. Yeah.
I remember getting there. so early because I wanted the first row seat. We were playing Kentucky. I think it was 2000. Keith Bogans was still there. So I guess it was 2002. And he and Tayshaun Prince were warming up. And I remember screaming at Tayshaun Prince as he's like trying to spin move, like, your twin sister's ugly. And it actually got to the point that he took the ball down. Bogan's like, what'd he say? And I said his twin sister's ugly. And he looked at me and was like, I thought he was, Tayshaun Prince is 6 foot. He's an alien, 6'9". He was like, that was good. Well, thank you. And then he proceeded to drop like 30 points.
Right, right.
Kentucky went 16-0 that year, whatever. It was still fun. I had a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you're down there. Basketball is unique in that being able to actually have that interaction with those guys can happen especially pre-game back in college for sure. I think I remember same game. I think Keith Bogans yelled something back at one of my friends. So
Well, he was an angry dude. Tayshaun had a little bit better sense of humor about it. Keith Bogans was just angry. He didn't like it when I yelled that you can't spell NBDL. He didn't think that was very funny.
yeah,
I guess he showed me with those 6 games with the Bulls. But, yeah.
Man, too good. So yeah, so I do think it's funny how we were all like there at the same time. Somehow we didn't all cross paths. But man, we were definitely sitting right by close to each other in those games. With some of those things you dropped. It's too funny.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think about that time. Like you remember all the football games, but like I will say that I remember when Herrick got kicked out, and it was just like I just remember being like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean, up until that point, it was like for me when I had what Donnan to Rick. I also had Jersa to Herrick while I was in school. But like early on, like there were probably bigger basketball moments that I experienced, than football until we got to like 2002, SEC championship. But up until that, the biggest sports moments I had experienced at Georgia were basketball.
Well, what was the Jim Donnan line? It's like, I've waited 40 years to coach these guys. And then they went 8-4. Quincy threw 5 interceptions against South Carolina.
Yeah.
And it's like, with the exception of that, a couple months later, Herrick takes them to the playoffs or to the tournament. The next year, they go back to the tournament. And then in 2002, 2003 season, I will, until I die, say that was at least an Elite Eight squad that they pulled out. Never work with the NCAA. That's just bad news. Never do it. Just go as far as you can, and then they'll take the wins away later. Doesn't matter though. I think with Jarvis, with Jonas, with Ezra, with Damian, with Rashad Wright, with Chris Daniels, with Steve Thomas, all those guys. I mean, they could have made a run. Carmelo Anthony won the title that year. You tell me Jarvis Hayes couldn't have won the title that year?
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was a stacked roster. And that is the team. Like that's my benchmark for me
Yeah.
is that
Oh
team.
yeah.
Whenever I'm like, oh, could this team beat that team or whatever, so I'm always comparing it back to that. And what I loved about that team so much too was the fact that like everybody was from Georgia. Like you
Oh
had
yeah.
your 7-man rotation, all guys that grew up in Georgia. Really love that. And that's always been my thing is like, why can't we recruit Georgia better? You don't even
Recruit
have to
Georgia,
get
yeah.
like the best guy in Georgia. Although we've gotten that guy, it's like we can get an Anthony Edwards, we can do that. But you gotta have more than just the one. And that's what I loved so much about that team was how many guys we were able to do that at that like similar layer. Like Rashad Wright, perfect example, right? Like he wasn't like a 5-star guy.
Well, I mean, you have Jim Herrick's opening press conference when he's hired in 99, right after Rhode Island, I think was still in the NCAA tournament with Lamar Odom. But they hired him at Georgia, and he literally said, if I can build a fence around the state of Georgia, we're going to be in the tournament for years to come. And they would have been. And it's one of
Yeah.
those, why don't we just do that? Dennis Stelton pulled my hair out. He's like, well, we can get this guy from Texas. And it's like, or you can get the guy from Atlanta. Or you can get the guy from Brookwood. You can get the guy that plays at Miller Grove. How about we get those guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like that's it's always been mind-boggling to me that I mean, remember Georgia Tech used to be good too back in the day, and now it's not. I feel like it's not really a thing anymore. The ACC is kind of fallen off completely, but the it is kind of mind-boggling. I always tell people like, when you're talking about kids sports and stuff like that, like there's no reason to drive more than like 3 hours outside of the city of Atlanta because there's just so much talent top to bottom in every single sport around the metro Atlanta area.
Yeah, you're starting to see that in baseball now too. Wes Johnson, number one, he's doing well high school recruiting, but number two, all these guys that have left the state, all of a sudden they're coming back for their NIL and their transfer portal. If we can do that with basketball too, we got RJ Godfrey, he did it. Tyron Lawrence, he did it. Keep bringing those guys back. You can stack a roster and go to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament with Georgia guys. You can do it with Georgia guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. Totally agree.
It's good that we're finally starting to do a little bit of that. Dylan James, Tyron Lawrence, those guys, Asa Newell, even though is he from Florida? Is he from Jefferson? Who knows? But those guys can just show you the talent is there. Contavious Caldwell Pope, the talent is there. Like we can keep it in the state. Well, not so much Georgia Tech, but like if we can get them to Athens. I mean, Athens is a great city. I spent 4 years there. It's fantastic. I wish I could spend more. How do we not just have a winner? Sleeping Giant. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It does feel like a sleeping giant. You just got to find all the pieces, and then just like with football, it feels like recently they've made some changes to be financially committed to winning, which has kind of been, I feel like for the longest time that was like the persona of the basketball program is that we weren't really serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like this year in particular, they ponied up to keep Silas. They ponied up to keep Blue. There was some rumors out there that Silas was maybe looking at NC State, especially after they made their run last year. And then Blue, I mean, I hope Blue stays all 4 years. That dude could go down. I mean, they already have the Blue Canes, if you will. That guy could go down seriously as one of the most popular athletes of all time at UGA.
He's like
But
hot rod level.
yeah, but I mean, like you keep those two. I know that Ace is not going to come back, but if you can keep Somto around, they really ponied up for those four guys. They brought in Lawrence. He wasn't cheap. They brought in Abson. That was six figures. I mean, they're spending some money on this current team. Obviously, it worked out. They got a number 9 seed and went back to the tournament. And next year, they're bringing some guys in too. Jacob Wilkins. You may recognize that last name. A couple other guys. Kareem Stagg, I believe, is also coming in. He's a high price. I want to call him a rookie, a freshman. But I bet they hit the transfer portal pretty hard, and they're going to have to stroke a pretty big check to keep Silas Demery Jr. In the fold as well.
Yeah, and I know we've started to see like how schools are planning to allocate their funds coming from, because now we're going to have the whole revenue share
Revenue share.
available. And so, kind of as you would expect, like most teams, it's going, football and basketball are getting the bulk of the money. And obviously football will get more, but feels like enough is being contributed from that pool to men's basketball to keep us, to keep us competitive with these guys.
I mean, if we can get Silas to come back, if Santo returns and takes a step, because defensively he's pretty good right now. Sometimes he can get into foul trouble, but he's a freak of an athlete. If they can just get him going with Jacob Wilkins in there, with Blue taking that next step as well, and maybe get a point guard so Silas has some help in there. I know Silas wants to control the ball, he can, but if you put him at off guard, I mean the dude's 6'5", 210 pounds, he could be a monster in there. Excuse me, he's like 195, but it's like he could be a monster at off guard, combo guard who can handle the ball with a true point guard. This team could be scary again next year. We could be talking about another 9 or 8 seed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, like John, I know for you, like you don't watch Georgia basketball a ton, but I know this team kind of caught your eye early on just in that they were fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was like, as we talk about the season review, the beginning of the season I felt like was like an absolute blast. Like it was so fun to watch basketball again. Like I don't know, I know that it's ridiculous and absolutely just asinine to say this out loud, but like it was like watching the Bulls for me. Like it was like watching the '90s Bulls for me. Like it was just fun. I was like, hey, I know these guys. Oh my gosh, who's this Santo guy? Oh my gosh, he's really good. This is really fun.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like we got into the SEC play, and I was like, oh, this is suboptimal. There was like this lull in the season, and then we kind of picked things back up. We figured out how to beat Florida, and you know, I think that there was definitely some muncening points throughout the season, right? Where you're like, I give up, you did too.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think we had a shot for a while there, but then all of a sudden we kind of snuck in, almost like our football team, right? It was just kind of snuck into the tournament, snuck into the SEC championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember
I,
which game it was. I want to say, was it like the Arkansas game where we lost and it was like, oh man, the vibes are low.
oh, yeah. Well, Arkansas was a game that they hadn't won a single game in conference play. We had a 15-point lead in the second half, and
Yeah,
then it's like we blew that. Oh
yeah,
man. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of those classic, you lose that one and then you lose it for the next three games because you're so worried about that. That wasn't it. Like we knew the beginning first seven games was going to be a hard stretch. But that was one of those, it's like if we could steal that one and all of a sudden go 4-3 instead of 3-4. And man, it was right there. Oh, it was right there. That one, Mississippi State. There's like
Yeah.
so many that
Mississippi
it's like,
State. Yeah.
oh, right there.
Even the Auburn game at home.
Yeah, I mean that was one. Just Asa, just lay the ball in,
Yeah.
man. But I can't fault him. I feel like we had so many chances at the end of that game that
Yeah.
Rothstein even tweeted out the "Welcome to the Jungle," and it's like, not yet, friend.
Yeah.
They're putting time back on the clock. And I will say, whoever is working the clock for Stegman Coliseum, great job because there is no chance at all that in point 0.4 seconds, Asa managed to catch the ball, come to the ground, go back up, and try to do a finger roll. And so great job
Yeah.
trying to help us out. He just missed it.
Uh, what is your take on like the way rosters turn over? Like again, I'll go back to like when we were in college, like the team we were talking about, right? Like those guys were there for, well, I guess Jarvis was only there for two, technically played for two, but like we got to see those guys for multiple years. Now we've got Demery back, we've got Blue back, but just the kind of the way college basketball kind of works now, a lot of turnover in the roster. How have you, I guess, like adapted to that as a fan?
Um, you never get too attached to a player, unfortunately. Even last year when Silas decided he was going to come back, I was like, well, wasn't expecting that. I guess because I got so used to the Tom Crean era of hey, we're
Mhm.
going to get 13 new guys again next year. And that was to borrow your expression, that was suboptimal as well. But if you can get any sort of continuity and like build your team around two, maybe three guys, and use the transfer portal to piece as long as you have this uh, core, and the core is obviously Silas and Blue this year coming back, and Dylan James as well. But if you could add the pieces to that core, if those three come back again next year, like I would say that we're probably a top six, top eight team in the SEC, to start next year if Silas and Blue and Dylan and probably RJ. I know everybody's given RJ some grief because of his foul troubles the last few games, but like if he can come back, if we get Somto back, you've got yourself quite a squad. How do I feel about it? Again, I never get too attached to them because I think they might leave, but this at the same time, that means I'm also getting eight new guys coming in, so that
Yeah.
could be good. And the eight guys that came in this year, no disrespect to last year's squad, are better than the eight guys we had, last year. RJ Melendez, okay.
Yeah.
Matthew Alexander Moncrief, who had a pretty good year at Seattle, but okay, whatever. Justin Hill, okay, bye. Good luck at Wichita State. I'll take Tyron Lawrence over those guys. I'll take RJ Godfrey over some of those guys. It's like I think Mike White did a great job replacing what he lost last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So you talk about all these different players and how their seasons went, and I think that the everything I've heard is the foregone conclusion is that Asa Newell is going to be gone after this season.
Lottery
That
pick, yeah.
seems to be what everyone thinks. But like I also am hearing in the same breath in those same conversations, you hear we never really saw him just completely take over a game like you did with Ant-Man or
Yeah.
KCP. Like, do you think that that's hurt him? Is that something that you think that is? Uh, gonna impact his ability to make money in the draft, or is that something that we can offset with NIL? Does that make sense? Like, is it truly like a just zero sum that he's gone? You know what I mean?
Yes, I think he's gone. I think that he is a late lottery pick. He's definitely a first round pick. At worst, he's going to drop, to number 20, whatever. But he's a guy actually 6'11", 220 pounds, averaging 15 and 8, 15 and 7 this year. And those numbers aren't eye popping. But if you look at the type of player he is, he was never going to be KCP. He was never going to be Anthony Edwards because that's not the player he is. Like when he came in, I thought his numbers would be about 15 and 8, 15 and 9, because what he was going to do was number one, get his points, cleaning up the trash, which is, thanks, Mike White, kind of, we don't run any plays for him. Maybe we should, but that's how he gets his points. But like, defensively, he's going to be a guy that is going to, swat the ball away. He can play a 5. He can play a 4. He can play a 3. He can jump out there and guard those guys out on the perimeter. But one of the things that's he'll grab the rebound and start the outlet pass. He reminds me a lot of Kevin Love. Back when Kevin Love played at UCLA, it's a guy. He's not going to score 28 points a game. I think everybody wanted him to because he's the second highest recruit in Georgia history. But that's
Right,
not the
right.
player he was. Like even on his high school squad, Cooper Flagg was the one scoring all the points. Like Asa is the one who's the glue guy for all intents and purposes. He's the one that's getting it, throwing the outlet pass, doing the assist, the pass that leads to the pass, which is the role he was going to play. I thought that he was going to be more ready-made than some of these other true freshmen, SEC freshman of the year guys, because he was going to come in. He was at his cap of like, I'm only going to get 12, 15 points a game, but my key is I'm going to be 8 rebounds and I'm going to be 6 assists a game. And I don't think the assists had quite been there the way I was hoping they would be, but he also went for 21 and 17 against Oklahoma the other day. Like the flashes are there if you want him to get points, if Mike White would run a play for him to get some points. But like his more valuable with like, being sporadic on offense, cleaning up the mess, but on defense, that's where his value is. And that's where like a team like the Spurs, if they somehow, fall in the lottery and get to number 13, you put this guy on the Spurs, good Lord, he like Greg Popovich is going to be a kid in a candy shop with. I mean, this guy, I also saw him recently mocked to the Brooklyn Nets. You put him alongside Nick Claxton, and goodness gracious, I mean, you've got two guys who have a huge basketball IQ, who are wiry, if you will, can grab that ball, shoot it out in a transition, and get things going. That's his game. That's literally Ace's game. It's not scoring 25 points like it is for Ant. You're never going to see Asa, toss up 25 shots a game. He's going to be the 8 shots a game, getting his points off the rebounds and getting defensive rebounds.
Got it.
Makes
Okay.
sense. Sorry, if you're on YouTube and saw me roll away, I had to go grab my Nick Claxton bobblehead when there was a Claxton shout out. So
Heck yeah.
shout out Frip Dog for picking that up for me at whenever that was a giveaway.
Nice work. Yeah.
Maybe talk about your thoughts on Mike White. I know we had a Crean joking moment a minute ago, but just on the transition from Crean to White, and what have been your thoughts so far?
Yeah, I mean, like it came out of left field. I tried to get the whole hashtag bring Jonas home, going
Yeah,
on Twitter, and it caught a little bit of traction, but
dude,
not a whole lot.
I was there with you.
Yeah.
I too. I mean, I don't know how much of that is nostalgia because we went to school with him.
Right.
But anyways, didn't happen. All good. But yeah, I'm with you.
But Mike White was definitely came out of left field, and all the Florida people were like, sadly I know a couple of Florida fans, friends with them. I don't know why.
We're gonna pray for you.
Yeah, I know, right? These guys right here. But they were like, yeah, way to take our trash. And I said to him, look, maybe the expectations right now are different. And one day, hopefully, I will be where the Florida basketball program is. But if Mike White comes in and over the next 8 years, because I think he was at Florida for 8 years, if he has the same success at Georgia that got him fired from Florida, they will build a statue right over your right shoulder, John, like right there. That's where the statue is going to go. Because what he did for Florida, number one in Elite Eight, which, it was Billy Donovan's players. Okay, still took him there, right? You've got the Elite Eight. We've got four tournaments in 7 tournament years. If you do 4 and 7 at Georgia, like I said, they'll build a statue for you. Like they literally will. Um, Now, is this the most talented team since that 2002, 2003 squad, Jim, that you and I, so fondly recall? It absolutely is. So should they have made the tournament? They absolutely should have. Am I super excited that they ended the year on a 4-game winning streak? I definitely am, because they were going to miss the tournament. And that is awful with literally the most talented roster you've had in 20 plus years. So, like, I'm glad they rallied. I'm glad they got a 9 seed. They needed to. If Mike White had missed the tournament this year, would he have been on the hot seat? Absolutely. Would he have gotten a 4th year? Yes. Let's not be ridiculous. Everybody that was saying fire Mike White, they weren't going to fire him. He was going to get his 4th year. But would he have been on the hot seat? Yes. Now he's made the tournament. And if he can bring, excuse me, Silas and Blue back, maybe Sompto back or Justin Abson back, either one of the two, will they be favorites to make a tournament again next year? Yes, they will. Does he probably need to make the tournament again next year? Probably so. But if he does, guess what? He's made it 2 years in a row. Jim Herrick had that success. Did Mark Fox? No. Did Dennis Felton? No. Did Tom Crean? Absolutely not. So will he be a little bit more comfortable? Yes. Going to give him a contract extension? I do not. Are the rumors out there that NC State and possibly Ole Miss, if they lose Beard, might come after him? If they do, they better pay all of that $5.7 million buyout. Somebody said we might reduce it. Why would we reduce it? I don't think we should.
Yeah.
But like, if they want to take him away and pay us that 5.7 million, excellent. Let's go hire a coach and use the rest of that money to throw at Asa Newell to probably get him to come back and say you could be number 20 overall, or you could come back and maybe be number 8 overall.
That's what I was saying. Like, is there like a big difference between like being a late first round versus an early first round, just like there is in the NFL? Like, I don't know. To me, it just seems like if you've got people that are saying that he's not taking over games, like it would just be in his best interest to come back and develop a little bit more. I don't know.
The only thing I worry about, John, is to get him back, to get him to turn down first round money, which he would be turning down first round money. You are taking up the entire budget to get a point guard, to get another 3-point shooter out of the transfer portal. And
Yeah.
is Asa Newell worth it? Maybe, but at the same time, like if we run back the team that we have this year, I think we could go from a 9 to a 7 seed. And if we lose Asa, I'd hate to lose him. But if we get a true point guard, we get a 3-point shooter, and we get maybe another big with that money that would have gone to Asa, we might be a 6 seed next year.
Yeah.
We could definitely make a Missouri, John.
Yeah, I would. When's the last time we had like a true like sharpshooter that like you were confident when it left his hand it was going
Ezra Williams,
in? Amazing answer.
like 2003, Ezra Williams.
Uh,
I wouldn't say DA Lane. I'd say Ezra over DA, or Da Lane as we called him back in the day.
DA is a good guy.
Yeah,
DA is a
I
good
don't
guy.
know. I mean, I don't really want to call anybody else a quote sharpshooter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Maybe
It's been a while.
maybe Stooks got close towards the end.
Okay, so 2004. Okay. Well, we're talking a 1 year difference. Okay, there we go. But I don't know. When he got cooking, Jarvis was amazing.
Oh
And
yeah.
could you imagine Jarvis on one side, Ezra on the other? I mean, those guys, they were insane. Zach Swansea,
Yeah.
Bill Humphrey. Oh, Lou Williams. How about him? Oh, wait. He never showed up. My bad. He never showed up.
Well played. Well played.
Oh,
Always say if he had come, things might have worked with Felton, but never know.
yeah. Well, we wouldn't have gotten Dollar Bill Humphrey in that case. And then who knows if we make that magical 08 run.
That's true. That's
I
true.
don't know.
As
Yeah.
were you in the dome that night?
I was not. No,
Okay.
I was at my house, um, or the house I was renting, whatever. And that was wild because I remember the first night we won, and it's like, well, obviously I'm going to wear the exact same socks and underwear the next day. And then, the game was called off, and it's like, well, I'm just going to go to sleep in the same socks and underwear. Woke up Saturday morning and we won, and it's like, well, I guess I've got to wear the same socks and underwear Saturday night. End up going to a wedding shower for some friends of my wife at the time, And she's like, "Are you going to change your socks?" And I said, like, "No, I can't change the socks. I can't." She's like, "Are you going to change your underwear?" And I was like, "Does it smell?" And she goes, "A little bit." Um, but you know what? I took it for the team, and we won that game. And I didn't change the socks or underwear the next day on Saturday when we beat Arkansas. And I was like, "Hey, cool." Here's the thing: I washed them, and then we blew that lead against Xavier. So that's probably my fault.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
I should
Axe,
have kept.
Axe
I should
body
have kept
spray.
going.
Uh,
Axe body spray.
Yeah, just
uh,
all over. Yeah.
All right. So you just went through, maybe this is a nice little segue into something that I was going to ask you about, just the rattling off the games and the gauntlet that you have to go through in the NCAA tournament. This bracket is insane, guys. Like this is getting we're getting a little ridiculous right now. I feel like looking at the bracket. I was just pulling it up just to see like the full bracket. And man, like you can't even fit some of these things on these lines. Like what is going on?
oh, like with the playing games and everything.
Yeah, like the full bracket. The 2025 men's bracket. Like
Yeah.
it's just crazy. Like there's too many teams. There's too many teams. Like we were joking about it. We were joking about it with the dog stats. Like the SEC tournament like didn't even matter like at all.
I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I think we always knew Alabama was going to be a two. They would have had to win the whole tournament to get a one, but I think we knew Florida. I think we knew Auburn were going to be ones with Auburn, or excuse me, with Alabama and Tennessee at two. So you're probably right.
It's just a sad state of affairs when the conference championship and the two revenue generating sports basically means nothing.
Well, take a look at the Big Ten too. Michigan beat Wisconsin, and if anything, what Purdue, who lost to Michigan on like 2 days in the quarterfinals, they were a four. Michigan, who won the whole thing, is a five, and then Wisconsin is a three seed. It's like, what? How does that work?
What is the math? What is the NCAA math involved for that decision to be made?
I
I will
was told there
say,
would be no math.
yeah, yeah.
I was told there'd be no math.
Generally, the regular season does matter more for your seeding in the NCAA tournament. NCAA tournament, except for these like one bid leagues where you've got to win your tournament to make it. But otherwise, it's not as. And I would say it's been like that. I mean, like Jim Herrick did not care about the SEC tournament. He never cared to win it. I
Roy
think
Williams at UNC, he hated it too.
Yeah. I think Calipari was talking about that the other day, even like with Arkansas. I mean, like they, you know, probably needed to do decently. But he was talking that way heading in. So I don't know. A lot of coaches they would rather get the time off and get rested for the NCAA tournament than go deep in a conference
Yeah,
tournament. And
save the legs for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. And kind of rest on the laurels of the resume you've built up during the during the regular season. Again, unless you need some kind of run, like North Carolina or something.
Well, I mean, if we don't play in the SEC championship in football, Carson Beck doesn't get hurt. Maybe Gunnar Stockton's not a thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
Never know.
mm.
Never know.
Dude, there's too
Um,
many.
What's the guy from
There's
Duke,
too many
Cooper
teams.
Flag? He got hurt too.
That's what
So
I was
it's
gonna
like,
say. I
yeah.
was like, there's just too many games because then you saw that other kid get hurt. Like, I don't get off, get off. This is where Jim says, "Get off my lawn."
That's what I say. This is the JP's get off my lawn segment. That's okay.
It is. I mean, just look at this bracket, man. This is insane. This is worse than watching a child's baseball bracket tournament on the weekend. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it changed. It was when there was some form of conference realignment and like some conferences realigned and made multiple conferences, and that's how we ended up with the whole first four thing because they didn't want to change the number of automatic, or they had to increase the number of automatic qualifiers because there were more
yeah,
conferences, but then they didn't want to reduce the number of at-large bids. So that's how we ended where we're
the
at now.
This
first four.
The first
this
four.
monstrosity.
I will say I was that was my whole thing heading into like the last weekend of the season. So like heading into that Vanderbilt game, it was like felt comfortable we were in the tournament, but wanted to win one more game somewhere, either that Vanderbilt game or first game of SEC tournament to basically skip Dayton. Try to not
Yeah,
have to go to Dayton. So
yeah. Because
mission accomplished.
if you make the first four but lose you know, you don't even make the dance. You don't make it to Thursday. Like, do you even get to count that? I mean, we would have counted,
Oh yeah,
obviously, because it's been 10 years. But
yeah.
like, do you even get to count that? I mean, I doubt UNC, if they lose to, who do they play tomorrow? San Diego State. I doubt they're going to count it if they lose. But they may not even put it up on the screen. They may be like, we only start counting things when it's the Sweet 16. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
They're one of those.
Um. All right. What? I guess like I do. I just want to talk a little bit more about this team and kind of like on the fun aspect of it
Yeah,
a
yeah.
bit. Just thinking like, and again like for the with the turnover and everything, like how quickly or maybe even like what do you do like heading into a season? Like, were you already all in on like? So I'll say like compare off of like myself. Like first game, or I had seen some of the social media stuff or whatever, but then it was like first game. I was like, ooh, this Samto guy. Like I like him. But like
Yeah.
honestly, it wasn't even really until like the first game. Like, or are you like in there and you know about these guys ahead of time, or are you somewhat kind of like that even?
I mean, like you always wonder how it's going to be. It's almost like fantasy football in a way. Like I don't know how they're going to be together.
Yeah,
Um, but like, do I when I see that we signed Dakota LaFew and Deshane Montgomery, it's like I remember them from last year, Mount St. Mary's, when especially when LaFew scored like 30 points on us, and
yeah,
it's like, ooh, I'm glad he's on our side now. But it's like I remember Tyron Lawrence. I think it's more just like, am I a sicko that goes and like watches tape of them at their previous school? Yes, I am. But I also am a sicko, and I watch the high school, football stuff, which I'm sure those highlight tapes on Huddle are, really indicative of how they're going to play for Kirby Smart. But yeah, like Justin Abson, I absolutely was watching App State tape, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. What else am I going to do? Like when my daughter's at dance practice and I'm like waiting for hip hop, fourth graders hip hop class to end. Like I'm watching Justin Abson tape at App State. Yeah, heck yeah.
that's amazing. I love that. All right.
But but no, I'm not a complete sicko. I'm in a couple of like the Twitter groups, whatever they're called, and those guys get way more into it than I do. They actually make it pretty easy to watch the stuff because they're like, hey, check this out, and
Mhm.
it's like, oh, okay, I don't have to go googling and mess up my algorithm, looking for all that stuff. But yeah, I watched a little bit of like Tyron Lawrence. He's gonna be pretty good, man. It's like I remember from Vandy, that dude hit some clutch shots, especially against Tennessee. Um, I'm ready to go.
Yeah,
So a
yeah.
little bit.
um, I guess like where I know you said it's the most talented roster, but I guess where does since we were in school,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but I guess where does this season stack up for you? I know it's not over yet, but so to date,
It's not 6 more wins.
that's
Yeah.
right. That's right. But so where I guess where does this team kind of stack up for you? Not necessarily even in like the best team or whatever, or you could go that way too. But I'm more of kind of like a
Okay.
in the fields guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like. I mean, that one team, when Trey and Travis announced they were coming back for their sophomore year, and
Mhm.
Mark Fox, got up on the podium and is like, "God bless you, Trey." Um, that team was so much fun. I liked the Trey Tompkins. I liked the Travis Leslie. That was right before Contavious Caldwell Pope. Oh, I wish he had been there.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
Dustin
that
Ware
would
was
have
on
been
that
crazy.
team. Gerald Robinson Jr. was on that team. That was a fun squad. I really like that one. Travis Leslie baptizing, was it Willie Cauley Stein? I don't remember. Somebody. And it just was like just dunked right
I
over him.
think it was
Or was it no, it's Boogie
Demarcus.
Cousins, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Cousins.
okay,
Yeah,
Boogie Cousins. That was fun. I loved the JJ Frazier, Yante Maton squad. JJ's senior year, Yante's junior year. That was such a fun team. Charles Mann, I think after he left, I was more appreciative than before, but I liked that Charles Mann squad. And honestly, the Dennis Stelton's first team,
mm,
just because it was like those are my guys right there. It's like I'm still angry at Dennis Stelton for not just rolling the ball out and saying Rashad Wright, Damian Wilkins, Jonas, Chris Daniels, take me to a tournament, which he could have done, but he had to impose his will
mm,
and completely change the style of play. You could see even though they beat Kentucky twice that year, and they beat a top three Georgia Tech team that year, that those guys, they weren't having fun the way they were under Herrick.
Yeah.
But it's like those were my guys right there. And it's like I remember cheering, like I went to a couple of those games. I was up in Raven County, fresh out of college. So I was like driving down 441, stopping at the Steg, a couple times a week, knowing I had to be back to be on the air at like 5 a.m. the next morning. But it's like, it's worth it. I watched it beat Arkansas one time. Uh, that was a fun squad. I like that 2003, 2004 team just because of what they ultimately did. So those
Yeah.
are probably my favorite teams.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Sadly, it's just moments. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not full teams just because we haven't had a lot of success. So it's moments. It's when Travis Leslie went over Boogie Cousins. It's when, Rashad Wright in double overtime was like holding up the jersey because he just beat Georgia Tech, number 3, who actually went on to lose in the national championship game that year. But it's like, but we beat y'all. Take that. Um,
Suck it.
yeah,
Suck it, nerds.
yeah. But
Uh,
it's like it's moments. Hopefully we'll have more moments over the next couple of weeks, but just moments that are like, yes, that's it right there. Blue
yeah.
Cane shot against Florida a couple weeks back. That moment right there
I was
changed the
just about to
season.
say we killed their hopes of the regular season title.
Yeah, we did. Mike White once again keeping Florida out of an SEC title.
That's right. That's right. Uh, we were down in Athens last weekend. Made it to that Vanderbilt game. That was my first time back at the Steg in a long time. Also
Okay.
for Kim, even longer. Lily had never been to a Georgia basketball game. Or sorry, there.
Okay.
We had seen them play away. We had seen them up here. She actually saw Anthony Edwards play up when
Nice.
they played an exhibition against Charlotte. So, anyways, but Lily was on a mission. She wanted to secure a blue cane. She did not secure one of the blue canes while we were there, so came away a little empty-handed from that. But we did get to see a dogs win in the Steg, so that was fun.
Hey,
Yeah. Did she get a picture of Spike though?
Oh no! Like, and the funny thing about it was like they were kind of like two uh seats or like sets of seats that I had kind of like gotten down to when we were looking, and like basically if we had chosen the other seats, we would have
Uh-huh.
had like Spike by us like the whole time. I was like,
Oh, that's
ah, we bought
that's
the wrong seats.
amazing. Yeah.
you
So
gotta you
Spike
gotta
did
get
not make it.
you gotta get a pick with Spike.
I
That's
know, I know, I know.
Yeah, we went to a game last year, and both my girls got a picture with Spike. I don't think they really wanted it, but like I wanted it, and I was
yeah.
like, I want a picture with Spike, who's and that picture that I have is the one that I make all the memes with or whatnot. But I was like, it would be weird if a 42-year-old just took a picture with the inflatable mascot. So I was like, I'm here for the kids, you know what I mean? So. Um,
Are they like screaming and crying like these Santa pictures? Like
No, they love Spike. Oh, the kids love Spike. Come on.
okay, okay.
Amazing.
Hey
Yeah.
man, we're I got a podcast. When we go attend a basketball game, 100% hit rate on NCAA tournaments.
I know, that's right. We
So
both
you got to go more often.
gotta
You
go
got to go
more.
next year.
It'll be on the list for next year to go.
Yeah, I miss
Please.
going.
Yeah, Mike White will pay for that ticket, I'm sure. Yeah.
That's right. That is one of the tougher things of for me, just making it down from North Carolina. Not as easy as it used to be. Although not that I went to like every game when I got out of college or anything, but
Right.
harder to make it back. But man, it's fun. It's fun, and I love the renovations. What's your take on the whole arena thing? Like people are like, oh, we need a new arena.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this goes back to when we were students there. Did you think that Stegman was a powerful home court advantage? I do.
Yeah, yeah,
And and
it
like
was awesome.
like it's old, it's falling down. That's fantastic, because it works for us. We're used to it. I mean, if you take a step back, go back and look at Maryland. Like, what was it Cole Fieldhouse where the Terps used to play back in the day with like Juan Dixon and all those guys, Lonnie Baxter
Mm.
and Steve Blake? It was like Cole Fieldhouse is a dump, but they were winning, and so Cole Fieldhouse was one of the greatest home court advantages. Have you ever been to Cameron Indoor? Talk about dump. That place is so dark you can barely see the person sitting next to you. But oh yeah, the team's really good. The students who are future doctors and senators and lawyers, are covered in body paint, screaming, all in synchronized cheer, which is kind of creepy if you think about it. But it's like that place is a dump, but because the team plays well and the students get into it, oh, Cameron Indoor is the greatest home court advantage in all of college basketball. It's not. The place is awful. If you go on like a tour and just walk through it, you're just like, "Ah, really? Like this place right here? Stegman is the same way. People think it's a dump, but if we are winning, just go back and look at some of the games with the fans holding up those blue canes. The fans are into it. That place is amazing. And everything that they've done as far as renovations, they've really brightened it. It's not dark like it used to be.
Hmm.
The glass on the outside is actually quite pretty. They've done great stuff with the video boards. People are making fun of the court. I think the court's great. Standing Bulldog, like, come on now. The coloring, whatever. I've gotten used to it though. Get used to it. You're only there watching it one game a year. The people who care about it are the fans. And if we like it, kick rocks, Auburn. Sorry you don't like it.
Yeah.
I only don't like it when it interacts with the TV broadcast, making it look like it's a sepia, old Western style or something like
Yeah.
that.
I think that's more in the broadcast
I,
lighting or something, maybe.
I blame
I
the
don't know.
SEC network.
Yeah.
It's
I,
their fault.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I want to double down on the exterior glass,
Yeah.
which we can see in John's background. I mean, what a great
I thought he was there right now.
yeah.
Is he not there?
we're,
Live
we're coming to you live.
live
But
from
you're
Stephen
outside,
Collison.
like in Athens.
He's
Like that guy
camping
hasn't
out.
moved. He's
He's
in
camping
mid-step.
out for tickets to the tournament. But yeah, that's something that I was like being like lame old person at the game last weekend, like explaining to my daughter, like, you see, we were still outside when I back in my day, like, this was still
Right.
outside, like the door was over there, like it opens up the concourse so much more. It's made a huge difference. So I don't know. The new seats are great. They're newish seats. It's not like the old wooden ones
Yeah.
they had when we were at school.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
like
know.
it's a good Coliseum. Now, if you build one downtown where the Classic Center is, like I don't think it would hold as many people. Maybe it's new or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's like if you can build a practice facility, and the practice facility is not that old, that's what they, care about. If you make the amenities, that's what these student athletes care about. Ooh, look how new the court is. They don't really care about that. They want all the stuff that they do on a regular basis, the practice facility, the locker rooms, all that stuff is new. It's fine. It's not a recruiting disadvantage. Anybody that says that, shut up.
I mean, especially in this day and age, like, shut up, kid. Here's your $5,000 check.
Right. I mean, it's like they're good, man. For everything I've seen, all those behind the scenes videos they're shooting in their locker rooms are fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're great. Their practice facility, top notch. Like that stuff is almost brand new. Like they don't, the seats that I'm not going to sit in are kind of old. Kirby Smart doesn't seem to mind it when he's sitting courtside.
Yeah. 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 Very true. Very true.
And also, can we talk for a second about like when you and I went, they used to give us these like t-shirts right here. Like this one right here, like this is from 2002, like
Heck
this
yeah.
shirt. It's
Look at
basic. It just
that.
says Georgia basketball on it. That's the giveaway. These days, like they're getting spike slippers. They're getting like the mini inflatable things. It's like, can I do that? Like I've literally sent, tweets where it's like, can I buy that somewhere, please?
Oh
Like
yeah. I've asked.
the giveaways they give away now to the students,
Yeah.
like they're insane. How come they didn't like we just got like a piece of Papa John's pizza when I was there. That was it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and then like that t-shirt is probably like double X or triple extra large or something. I'm pretty
Well, if
sure.
you got it, because sometimes like they'd put them over the seats, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
like, some of the place folks would come in and be like, "I'm going to take these 7 shirts," and it's like, "That's my shirt, man."
Right. Right. I'm pretty sure now, like if the shirt that's sitting out like doesn't fit you, you can go and like exchange it for your size or something. I saw one time I was at a game and I
These
saw
kids are
like
so soft.
students going back to a table like exchanging their shirts. I was like, what is going on here?
How are we exchanging shirts?
Yeah. I was like, you don't just have to wear the double XL like I do for the rest of my life.
Erroneous.
Like because I still like I actually I have a couple that I do like to pull out for certain games or whatever. Although I will say this year I didn't, so maybe I need to just keep not doing this. I will often go and rummage through my Herrick's Hound stack of shirts. I've got one that says it just says Beat Florida.
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
wear that when we play Florida. And I didn't this year, and we beat them. So maybe I need to not wear that T-shirt. So
Ooh, interesting.
yeah,
Interesting. I used to wear the beat Florida shirt that I got from the Georgia women's soccer game.
ooh,
But I
nice.
wore that to the Georgia Florida basketball game and we won. And I was like, well, I gotta wear this forever.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I don't know whatever happened to that shirt. It's no longer with us. And I also remember they used to do the jersey giveaways, but they were for kids 12 and under. And for some reason, I thought like, as a 21-year-old, I can put this jersey on. And I think I just remember having to like cut it off, but that's okay. It was fun. We wore that thing, and it was a good time.
I remember that. Was it the number? Did you have the one? It was like Mike Dean's jersey. It was
Well,
like
there was
number.
a
This is the number
two.
two. It was the
There
number
was a
two.
two, and
Yeah,
then
that was
next
it.
year there was a three, and then you would think the next year would be a four. Oh no, we jumped to number 50.
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
how that happened, but yeah, we I had to cut the two off me.
okay.
Thankfully, the 50 fit a little bit better.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, I don't know where they've gone.
I mean, yeah, we had to honor Chris Daniels with the number
We
50.
did.
I mean,
All Benny, legend of all Benny.
so were you always a big basketball fan, just in general of the sport?
I would say that growing up, uh, I liked football. I was, like I said, a big UVA fan. My whole family went there. But UVA football wasn't great. It was UVA basketball. And so I probably followed basketball better, having to go to all of my older brother's basketball games. Um, if you look at us, we're not exactly football standouts. But my brother was one of those coaches on the floor. He's the first one in. He's a last one out. He's a gym rat type guy. So I was able to watch him a lot, and I started picked up like, oh, that's cool. So yeah, I think I probably liked basketball and baseball, probably more so than football from the jump. And even it's like you alluded to earlier. My freshman and sophomore year, Jim Donnan's last 2 years there, and then Mark Richt, it was a slow. Yeah, my senior year, we won the SEC championship, but it's like basketball was the sport when I was there.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Donovan's dogs, but it's like I like basketball. I was a Herrick's Hounds, man. I was a Herrick Hound, and it's like that's what I enjoyed going to. Like those basketball games, they were fun. It's not a lot of fun losing to South Carolina and Lou Holtz, but it is fun
Yeah.
when Jim Herrick, is like averaging 80 points a game. Like that is a good time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I would say that I've sort of always been locked in on basketball, maybe a little bit more so than football.
Okay. Okay. Got it. That tracks. I was about to ask the Georgia story question, or do you want to just ask that? Because I feel like we kind of naturally started to evolve into that question, into
We
your.
did. When he started talking, I was like, what?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, man. Just what's your Georgia story, man? Like we just want to know.
All right, yeah. Well, I guess I attended two Georgia football games, even though I grew up in Virginia. They just so happened to be the Peach Bowl against UVA in 1995 and 1998. And I remember that was obviously in December of 98, being really upset, walking out of the Georgia Dome that Todd Braverman at UVA missed that kick because, man, Georgia beat us. And then, like 3 months later, when I got my acceptance letter, it's like, oh, never mind. I am excited that Todd Braverman sucks and misses that kick. That gives us
You're
some
so
momentum.
back.
Georgia going into next season. Quincy Carter for Heisman.com was a real website, by the way,
It
Quincy for
was.
Heisman.com.
It was.
But that was like my first taste of Sanford Stadium. No, I think growing up in the 90s, every kid, wanted to be Kenny Mayne, Craig Kilborn, Dan Patrick, maybe not Keith Olbermann. Political views, let's not get political on here. But, everybody wanted to be on SportsCenter. And so that meant I wanted to be on SportsCenter. So I applied to three schools. I applied to Syracuse. I applied to in-state James Madison, and I applied to the University of Georgia. And the only reason I was allowed to apply there was because, and by the way, those are all like top 15 schools in the country for journalism. The reason I was allowed to apply for Georgia was my older brother went to grad school at Georgia and said it was okay. And my sister lived in Atlanta. And, so as long as I was close, my mom was like, I'll allow him to go. So I got into Syracuse, and it was like, that's a wrap. I'm going there, until all of a sudden they sent the first bill for the first semester's tuition. It was like 40 grand. And we're like, are you sure you don't want to go to like somewhere else, anywhere else that's less expensive? And so we settled on Georgia, and great journalism school, Grady College. Got my journalism degree from there. Spent 10 years doing broadcasting, working for Georgia Public Broadcasting, working for a small radio station up in Raven County, doing some work for the AJC, Score Atlanta, working a little bit for the 790 The Zone, doing Braves post game stuff. And then just realized I was having more fun helping the interns, and decided to, after 10 years of broadcasting, leave the business and become a teacher so I could help shape America's future. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of my story. I like didn't really know much about Georgia growing up, and until I came down here, and I absolutely love it. Would never leave, and it's the best decision of my life.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
Every,
I like it.
also cool that every time that question is asked, the story is always different. Um, Definitely have not heard one like that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and now it's like I've had three nieces go to Georgia because of my experience. I got married to my college girlfriend. Now she's my wife, who I met at Hill Hall in 2021, or excuse me, 2001. My nieces came to the wedding which we had in Athens, and they were like, "This place is pretty cool. I should go to school here."
Mm.
And yeah, man, like Athens, it's like the most amazing town in America.
Yeah, you're
It's
recruiting for Georgia too. It's amazing.
it's an amazing
If you can play
place.
basketball, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can play basketball, give me a shout. I love it. I love it. So Georgia fan by way of Syracuse. I like it.
Yeah, like looking back, it's one of those like it's ironic that I almost went to Syracuse, and it's like they win the title, which would have been my senior year. But if Jarvis is allowed to play in the tournament, I think that maybe we have something to say about that, but we'll see. But no
Yeah.
regrets. Kirby Smart winning a couple of titles. It's fun watching David Perno back in the day. The Diamond Dogs, now hopefully Wes Johnson. Doing some good things, and Georgia's, it's just such an amazing, amazing state, city, Athens, and
Yeah.
why wouldn't you want to go there?
What what was all the connections to Virginia though? Like
I'm
you said
from Virginia. Yeah,
you're from Virginia? Okay.
yeah, yeah. That like my whole family went to UVA. So four brothers and
Okay.
sisters. I don't want to call myself the black sheep because I went to Georgia, but they're all like, "Don't you want to be a UVA, guy?" And I was like, "They don't have a good journalism school." I was pretty locked in. At 17 years old, I knew what I wanted to do, which obviously now I'm no longer doing. So clearly, I made the right choice.
What brought everybody down to Rabin?
No, that was just my first job out of college.
Okay, okay.
And so I started working at Raven County, and it was kind of cool. I did the play-by-play for the Raven County Wildcats, and my play-by-play partner was John Miller. His nickname was the Iron Wrinkle, and it was pretty cool. John and I were doing the coaches show. I'd been down there for maybe like 2 months, 3 months, and I pull in, and we go to interview the high school football coach, and he's like, "You just graduated from Georgia?" And I was like, I did. He's like, "You might know my son." And I was like, "Okay, there's only 30,000 undergrads. What's your
30,000, yeah.
son's name?" And he's like, "My son, Kirby." And I was like, "Kirby Smart?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I never met him personally, but that was kind of cool." Sonny Smart was the head coach of Raven County when I was there, and the quarterbacks coach was George Bobo. So we were yelling like "Run the ball, Bobo!" Back to the high school days of Raven County. But they were pretty cool. And then I used to also do a pick'em show on the radio, and on the show were Scott and Kent Warner. Kent, of course, is the dad of Charlie Warner, and so I literally knew Charlie Warner when he was like this tall before he, became 6'7", is now in the Falcons. So that was pretty cool too.
That is crazy. Good times.
That's right.
Sonny Smart asked you if you knew his kid.
I mean, there's only like 36,000 people that go to school there. Like, what's his name? Maybe we went to the dining hall together. And he's like, Kirby. I was like, no, I never knew a guy named Kirby. Sorry. Yeah. We didn't run in the same circles.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. He
Over there. I
left.
was over here.
I say, yeah. It's only because he left right before you got there.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what
Obviously, it
it
would
is.
have been best buds.
Yeah. We clearly would have been friends. Absolutely.
I overlapped with him for
NC
one
Florida.
semester. I don't remember ever seeing him anywhere,
Yeah.
but used to see Champ. I don't remember ever seeing.
I had a class with Boss Bailey,
Oh,
and that was
nice.
kind of cool. And then Tim Wansley was in another one of my classes. I remember Tim Wansley used to just literally like look up highlights of himself, and I was like, "Hey, man, I know we're doing this project together. Are you feeling like doing anything? That no, you're not. You're just gonna look at your highlights. Okay, that's cool." And then I remember Boss Bailey was there, and we had a professor, and I guess it was Boss had missed a big tackle against Tennessee, and the
Mm.
professor was like giving him crap about it, and it's like, I, you realize Boss Bailey's like 6'5", like 260, like he could destroy you. And he's like, oh, he's not going to do anything. And I was like, I wouldn't risk
Could
it.
definitely
Like,
block a field goal.
that's a gamble. Like, I don't think I'd want to risk that. Yeah.
It's a
He's
bold
not going to do
strategy,
anything.
Cotton.
Yeah. See if that works out for you.
Oh man. I guess we talked about the bracket or JP. We had JP's get off my lawn bracket moment, but
Yeah.
Fletcher, how do you feel about where we sit? So the bracket. Let's go back to Selection Sunday yesterday.
Oh, back on track. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
Bracket comes out. Bracket comes out. How are you
Uh-huh.
feeling when you see the dog's name, taking into account like where we fell?
I sort of figured we would be playing in the Houston bracket, just based on all the mocks that were out there, or the bracketologies, whatever you want to call them, the mock brackets.
Yeah.
Gonzaga was a bit of a shock. I was thinking they would be more like a 6 or a 7 seed. People are calling them like literally the greatest 8 seed in the history of the tournament. So cool for us.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years now. Here's the hardest number 8 seed ever. They're
Yeah.
25-8 champions of the West Coast Conference, like haven't missed the Sweet 16 and since Obama was president. So all that bodes well for us. But in all seriousness, it's like I don't want to say I'm just happy to be here because I definitely want to win. I wish we had kind of dropped to a 10 seed because I think a 2 is easier to beat than a 1, obviously. Do I think we can beat Gonzaga? I absolutely do. They score most of their points in the paint in the interior. They're not great shooting from the outside.
Hmm.
And what do we do well defensively? We have bodies, okay? Whether it's Somto Cyril, who can block up to 5 shots a game, like he did against like Oklahoma a couple weeks ago. We have Asa Newell, who's good defensively. We've got Justin Abson. We've got RJ Godfrey, who seems to just be willing to commit 5 fouls before he checks out. But it's like we have bodies on the inside that could conceivably go against these guys. Who's their tallest player? Graham Ike. He's only 6'9". We've got guys that are 6'11". I think that could match up well for us.
Hmm.
Graham Ike's going to get about 17 points a game. But if we can just force them to take difficult shots on the inside, knowing that they're not going to do well shooting from the outside, what's our Achilles heel? Perimeter defense.
Yeah.
Do we have a chance? We absolutely have a chance. And then we will absolutely lose to Houston. But I'm very excited about the fact that we could make the second round. And I do think that that is a like real chance of us winning against Gonzaga. I mean, if you take a look at they are, with the exception of Auburn, the oldest team in the history of college basketball. Khalif Battle, I think, was in school when we were there. He's been at Butler, he's been at Temple, he's been at Arkansas, he's been at Gonzaga, he was at Temple for this is his 6th year. The dude was born in the year 2000, so literally when we were in college, he was born. Like it just he's been playing forever. He's 24 years old, 22, 22, 21, 22. Their whole lineup is in their like mid 20s. So it's like, what are we doing here? We're the youngest team in the SEC, but I still think we're athletic. I still think we can take it to them, and they can't shoot from the outside. That's our weakness. I think we have a good shot at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with
I
you.
wasn't thrilled though, to be honest, because as soon as I saw Gonzaga, I was like, oh crap. That's usually the team when I'm filling out brackets. I was like, well, they always win, so let's move
Yeah,
them
well, I
to the
mean that's
next
true. They
move
always
them
make
to
the
the
Sweet
next round.
16.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I know shoot the last time we made a tournament, we played a criminally underseeded Michigan State. That was we were in like the 7-10 game, and I think they made the Final
Yeah,
Four.
yeah.
But I don't. I'm not to say that this Gonzaga team is like that Michigan State team, although, but that's good to hear.
This isn't a great Gonzaga team. It's
Yeah,
definitely not, but like they are still
It's not the
dangerous.
weirdo. It's not the weirdo with the like weird mustache and long hair, like
Adam
that.
Morrison,
Yeah, Morrison. Yeah, yeah,
last seen crying on the floor as his team blew a lead against UCLA. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Busting
yeah.
my bracket back in '06. Yeah, I remember that.
I had to go double check the history of playing these guys because I remembered playing them before. I've seen us play them twice. Apparently, we lost. I don't know, I don't know why it's not counting as. Oh, I bet this game must have been vacated. It's not counting it because we beat them twice, but I guess we're not counting it. So we beat them neutral site in 2002
Yep.
in Atlanta, and then we beat them again in 2006. We played them in Duluth at like the Gwinnett Arena. I went to that. I was at that game. I was at that game. I went to both of those.
I think I
So
remember that game. I think Eunice Idrisi had like a bunch of points in that game.
I know,
I think I
man, he
was
could have
there.
been the blocking Moroccan.
Yeah, that dude was great. And
uh,
that if I remember that game, it was like so quiet, and I would like literally shout for him, and he would just shake his head like, "Stop it, stop it,
I
do
remember
not cheer for me."
the main thing I remember was Mike Mercer had like a crazy dunk in that game, and
Oh, Mike Mercer.
And I remember like Rick Majerus actually was the color commentator on the broadcast for that game. I remember he had a nice call of that. He like compared him to Dominique.
Yeah, well, Mike Mercer, I that's about where the comparisons to Dominique stop, hopefully,
Yeah,
for Dominique's sake. But
yeah.
that dude, he was scary athletic. Could you imagine if he had if Lou Williams had actually shown up? Like that team, that AAU team they used to have,
Oh yeah,
Lou Williams, Mike Mercer, and Bill Humphrey, like that must have been an insane squad.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they all went to the same. I know that Lou went to South Gwinnett. I don't think that's where Bill Humphrey went, but it's like that AAU team that they had. What is it, the Atlantic Celtics or whatever? I bet they were insane.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. No, but that's good. You know, for football games, I've usually got my stuff where I just like pull all the here's the stuff for the opponent, etc. Didn't
Yeah, yeah.
have that, so honestly, that helps me because that has you're right in the perimeter shooting. Like that's been our issue lately is defending that.
Yep.
So if that's not like their main strength, that does make me feel better.
I mean, like their best 3-point shooter is Nolan Hickman, 21 years old, by the way. He's the spring chicken of the bunch. But he's averaging like 43%, but he's only made like, a handful, maybe like one per game. So it's not like he's a huge threat, averaging maybe 9 point, yeah, 9 points a game, a little less than 10 points a game. So it's not like he's going to go crazy from the outside. Nolan Hickman, their best chance at a 3-point shooter. Ryan Nimhard. Um, Again, he's 6 foot tall. He's gonna go to the basket though. And these guards that they have, they're undersized compared to our guys. Like Blue Kane and Silas Demery are both like 6'4", 6'5". We've got size. We can D these guys up. We can make life difficult for them, especially if they can't hit from the outside. I think, I hope. They're
Yeah,
going to try to get us into foul trouble. Hopefully, we have enough bodies that we can keep rotating him in and out. And maybe Santos Cyril, maybe this is the game where he actually kills somebody, when they go inside. Because I'm just waiting for him, to just, Thor, hammer of Thor, drop it down on somebody because it's coming eventually.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and maybe it's this game. Who knows?
Could be. I will say, should we get past Gonzaga, Georgia has never lost to a number one seed in the NCAA tournament. Fun fact.
Let's see. Hold on. Purdue, 95, and St. John's in 83.
Was it
Am I thinking of somebody else?
no, I think you're right. Or what in 83 or was it Carolina? Was Carolina not a one? Maybe it was St. John's. I don't know. I know we beat a one seed in both those tournaments.
I thought it was St. John. I
See,
thought
this is
Carolina was the two. I
oh
thought
okay.
we were a, I thought
Okay.
we were a four and beat the one and then beat the two. I
There.
could
Okay.
be wrong
No, that's probably right. That's probably right.
because it was like that was like Mullen and all them, right? Chris Mullen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
he was. I think they
Okay.
were the one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 But yeah, so that's
But
that's my little fun fact. Even
all
though I
right, so
didn't have all
bring it.
the background facts with it, but
Yeah, and like,
it
and
is
we
a true
still
statement.
owe Houston for that 83. That should have been us.
That's
Darn it,
right.
could have been us. But yeah, no, Houston. I think they're good, and because I can't pick Duke and I can't pick Florida, just because I can't, I have to pick Houston to win it all. We know Tennessee's not going to make the Final Four history, and Auburn is just I can't
There it
do Auburn.
is.
I think Tom Izzo gets them, but yeah. So if Florida can't win and I can't have Florida win, and please heavens no Duke can't have them. Well, I'm rooting against Duke, for all those Georgia football, Duke basketball fans. Take that, join the Georgia Bulldog squad. We're taking over. I have to go with Houston, so
Yeah.
that's who I'm going to pick.
Okay. Okay. I
Assuming they can get by a very cagey Georgia Bulldogs in the second round.
That's right. That's right. I haven't. Yeah, I haven't. Have you guys filled out your brackets yet? I haven't. I have not even filled one out yet, personally.
I no, I part of the bracket question was me pulling up the bracket so that I could print, so I could try to print one out, but there's very clearly no size, not enough space. This bracket's too big.
But you guys still print them out, right? Like you don't.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to print it out.
Yeah, like you have to print it out and then carry it around in your back pocket with a highlighter and a red pen because
I
the
mean,
highlighter is if you get it right and the red pen is if you get it wrong.
how else
Exactly.
does one do that?
Some people are like, "Oh, let's do it all on the computer." It's like then I've got to pull up my phone and it's like I don't know. Whereas I always carry it in my back pocket. It's right there. It's
That's
right
right.
These
there.
people
Like
live
who'd you
like
pick to win? I don't know.
savages.
Let me look. It's like origami. It's like it's fine. There it is. I made a duck. Now it's my bracket. There it is.
Amazing, amazing. All right, I think I'm aligned with your with your thoughts there.
You
On the
can't pick
where
Florida.
we're at.
You can't pick
Oh
them.
yeah,
I
no,
think
no,
that
no, no.
I think they're the best team. You can't pick them though. You can't do it.
Yeah,
Who?
no. Huh? Oh yeah. Who?
Exactly. Exactly. You can't pick those guys. Those
Uh,
stinking Gators.
all right, JP. What else do you got? You got anything else for Fletcher?
Man, I don't. It's been nurturing, learning so much about the basketball stuff here. Jim and Fletcher are gonna go and start a basketball podcast. I'll be sitting in the cold like Pablo Escobar.
Well, you're actually out there right now. You're in front of the Stegman,
I'm
as
right
we
here,
speak. So
right here,
you're
guys.
you're the real one here
I'm
tonight.
channeling. I'm channeling.
Yeah.
Too good. Awesome. Let's see. I always forget to do this. Fletcher, where can people find you if they want to follow your work, as we say?
Oh man, I love dropping the gifs or gifs, whatever it's called, the memes. F Proctor on the X, the Twitter, whatever it's called, F Proctor.
Awesome. Yeah.
There's my name right there, Fletcher Proctor. Yeah, you can see it.
uh, perfect. I will say I have, we were in school at the same time, so
Mhm.
developed a love. We had the shared experience of Georgia basketball actually being the better, more successful sport early in our college careers, and kind
Absolutely.
of grew up through that. And so that really kind of shaped my basketball fandom, and it
Yeah.
has been fun on an app like Twitter to find people like you and Who's Mafia and there's a whole crew of Georgia basketball
There are dozens
Twitter.
of us.
Yes.
Dozens.
But it's a great group to get out there and interact with, and very passionate about Georgia basketball. So I appreciate it. So I enjoy all that content, and have even gotten in on some pestering of Rothstein as well. So
Rothstein is going to give us the
Yes.
tweet. I know it is. It's coming. We're going to get a tweet from Rothstein. I guarantee it.
man, he quote tweeted. Did he quote tweet? He quote tweeted you the other day, right?
He quote tweeted
It
Mafia,
was Mafia. Okay, okay,
just
okay.
because I think he might have me blocked, just because after every game I let him have it with about 17 memes
Uh,
with
that's so
Spike
good.
doing various things to him. But he quote tweeted Mafia saying that you can't force them, but there is a chance that next year we get one. So
That's right. That's right.
hopefully so. Let's make a run. If we beat Gonzaga, which by the way, they wanted to be called Gonzaga, so I'm going to call them Gonzaga as a screw you, Gonzaga.
Gonzaga. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's not
Bizarro
Gonzaga,
Dogs.
Gonzaga. Take that. If we beat Gonzaga, I bet we get one. Fingers crossed.
I like it. I like it. Sweet. All right. Well, the first ever basketball centric episode of My God Podcast. It's been a blast.
Oh man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, when we saw this coming and felt like we were going to make the tournament, we were like, we've got to do this with Fletcher. Fletcher, this is the only way this can happen. So we were excited that you graciously accepted to come on. So I
Oh,
appreciate
thanks,
it.
man. Thanks for that invite. Love it. Georgia basketball on the up.
Love it.
Put the word out. We're back.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, man. Good times. It's good to connect face to face.
That's right.
Absolutely.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Instead of through your avatar.
That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Cool, guys.
go dogs.
Go dogs.
Go dogs.